What up, people? My name is Terrell Harris, one half of the leadership team of the Open Box, where our vision is to make wholeness more accessible. And what I wanted to share is where I'm at. I don't know what to entitle this video. Actually, let's just hop into it. So for those who don't know, graduated seminary this year in 2014. Very elated and excited that I actually gone through this journey. It took me about 4.5 years. Brooke finished seminary when I was coming in. And like I said, for those who don't know, we met while she was in seminary. I read 20 or 30 of her books or something crazy like that. And then I kind of just dove in not knowing what to expect. Initially, I just got into seminary just mainly to support her and help her out. And then I also had a curiosity to learn a lot of the things she was learning that wasn't being taught in our church setting. So as I've gone through the journey, the Open Box started out as 7-minute ministries, and ultimately I was just sharing my notes from school. And then it evolved into a blog where I try to merge in spirituality with current events and some sort of gossip news in a way that is creative in a way that creatively reaches the people by what's actually happening in society now. So what you'll see in Open Box, you'll see current events, you'll see messages, and then you'll see an infusion of both, right? So behind the scenes, I've actually really been thinking about starting a church or launching a church. Now, most people would think, well, you go to seminary, of course you're going to start a church, but that's actually not the case. So a lot of, my classmates, they go into ministry. Some people are into politics, some people are into government, some people are into nonprofit work. So for me, as I guess maybe I had the idea in 2012 or 2013. And when I say that I had the idea, I really dug into it. So I have roughly like a 15 to 20 page plan for something that resembles a church. So I would say it's church-like. So I've done demographic studies in this particular area we're at now in Maryland. I've researched denominations. I've researched their processes and how they actually fund church startups. And I was set, ready to go with the plan, and then it just kind of halted because what came up was, does the world need another church? And that's a tough one because I live in an area in Maryland where there's a ton of churches. There's definitely a ton of black churches, both big and small. On the strip on Minnesota Avenue, I think it's in a 1 mile radius. I counted over, I think it was like close to 20 churches. So it's like a street and it's a church on almost every other corner. So it came to me, although I had this plan, this elaborate plan that I think, came from God. Do I really need to start a church? So I've been sitting on it for maybe for about a half a year now, trying to figure out if I'm really called to start a church. Now it's been difficult for me mainly because of outside of the sheer mass amount of churches that there are. I realize the way I think I'm sort of progressive, so I don't necessarily fit. So for me, some denominations, the hierarchy will move you around based on where they feel you should be or based on your needs. That X's me out because I don't necessarily feel the need to move from where I'm at now. Even with some of my beliefs, like I wouldn't even particularly force my beliefs on anyone. So that may X me out because ultimately in a lot of denominations, when they look at your statistics and they look at how you're doing successful, the idea is to grow the church and also to grow those who've been saved. So I remember being at AME coming up as a kid, and they do their annual conference when we do our reports, and they would ask the question, how many people got saved. So even my ideas around people coming to Jesus is a little bit radical because I don't think it's necessarily up to me. Like if I say something and the Spirit leads you to become saved, God bless, I'm happy for you. If I say something and it leads you to seek God but not necessarily, seek Jesus, then, okay, I'm fine with that as well. And what makes me different than a lot of people out there is seminary has taught me to shape my beliefs and to fully be able to articulate those beliefs. But when we go to church, what I see is everybody hangs on what the pastor says, and ultimately we believe like the pastor believes. Seminary breaks that down because we go through all these biblical classes, and at the end you have a class called systematic theology, which really digs into the fundamentals of how Christian theology was really shaped over time. So we get into the origins of the creeds and everything along those lines. So for me, my approach to church wouldn't be, here's what the Bible says and here's what God is saying through me. It would be more of an open dialogue to figure out how your beliefs are versus my beliefs versus societal beliefs or versus the group beliefs. How we could actually communicate and work together as a community, even if we don't necessarily agree on the same thing. And from what I've seen in my church upbringing is, you have to take a stance, and the group, in order for the groups to be successful, it seems that everybody has to believe the same thing. So if I was to start this church, and it's so vastly different in that aspect, does it even make sense for me to start a church, or should I be doing something else? So you just see my thought process and how I had this plan and then kind of unraveled it. Another thing, if I started a church, I wouldn't even meet every Sunday. Now, I know you're saying this is crazy. Some people are probably jumping for joy, like, yes, we don't have to go to church on every Sunday. But one of the ideas I had is that we got to be a church, and we got to be focusing on some of the things that Jesus did in terms of the community, and we're supposed to help people in need and help other, those with less. 1 or 2 of those weeks out of the month, we're not gonna meet at church. What we would do is actually go into the community and service the community. And when I say service to the community, I don't mean taking a bagged meal someplace, and then actually proclaiming the gospel and giving people Bibles and New Testaments and pamphlets and stuff like that. I'm actually talking about meeting people, understanding their needs, getting to know them, developing relationships with them, because unless you do all of that stuff first, from my perspective, it's kind of hard to force your beliefs on somebody or to even offer up what you believe, because you're a stranger. So my idea would be to maybe have church inside of a building or a sanctuary 2, maybe 3 times a month, and then the other 1 or 2 Sundays, depending on if there's 5 Sundays a month, you do community work. Just imagine, just peep this. So let's just say all of the churches in America took 2 Sundays off, let's say in January, and in that month they're not gonna do anything inside the church building. They're gonna take all their resources into the community, right? So they take their money, they take their time, they take their talents into the communities that really need their help. What do you think could happen? So you figure, let's just say a church has 10,000 people. Church usually lasts maybe between an hour and a half. Let's just say church service is like 2 hours. If a church has 10,000 people, that's 20,000 hours of work that could be accomplished on a Sunday. But instead, what we've been taught is that we have to be inside the church building every single Sunday in order to have church. So that's where I'm vastly different. Now, it's weird. It sounds like a good idea, but does that match up with any denomination that exists? Not necessarily sure. So what am I to do? I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. So I know there's a ton of things that I probably have to do. I would never approach this like it was something easy. But I feel I do have a vision. But then there's this tug of war saying do it. Then there's something else saying maybe not, because it's going to be difficult or it's too vastly different. So that's where I'm at. So I'm still going to develop content on the blog, still going to tweet, still going to do Instagram, still going to do Facebook stuff. But just wanted to be a little bit transparent with you, because in the background my wheels are spinning to see if the open box should actually turn into a physical location, and will it. So stay tuned. Actually, what I want you to do is comment below, tweet, Facebook, however you're getting this. Let me know your ideas about church. Do you think my ideas are too radical? Do you think they're on point? Comment below. Peace and blessings. I hope all is well. If I don't speak to you guys or shoot another video before, you guys have a happy and safe holiday. I'm out. What up, people? My name is Terrell Harris, one half of the leadership team. No.